And welcome back to the Marvel Movie Minute, a daily podcast in which we explore the films of the Marvel Cinematic Universe 1 minute at a time. In this, our 5th season, we are looking at Joe Johnston's 2011 film, Captain America, The First Avenger. I'm Andy Nelson from the Next Real Film Podcast.
And I'm Pete Wright. Full, strong lips, chiseled jaw, pointy chin. It's my favorite mouth day.
Today, we're talking about minute 60, the 1 hour mark. That's right, we've hit the 1 hour mark of the film, which begins with a shield to the face and ends with a door to the face. Back on the show, sadly for the last time this season, it is Michael Gravagno, host of the podcasts, The Superhero Show, and Movie of the Year. Mike, welcome back.
Thank you. Look, Cap has never seen a face he doesn't want to smash with something. He hates mouths. His dad was a dentist, cheated on his mom. They don't talk about it a lot. He's going to take out every mouth he gets to.
Cannon.
What we don't know about the two guys in the back of the truck, he never touches their faces because he can't see their mouths.
He's not triggered by their teeth.
Right.
Right. It's a trigger warning for Steve.
Just regular punching.
Just regular old punching. Before we begin, actually, one of the things we like to do every Friday is talk about favorite Captain America moments. And I know I usually do this at the end of the show, but I'm shaking things up today. Mike, of all the films, of all the comics you've read, of everything Captain America, what would you say is your favorite Captain America moment? Do you have one that you could easily pinpoint?
Yeah, so many flooding where they're all blocking each other. Love the "No You Move." I can't remember what movie is that from, where he's like, when the whole world stands up against you. It might be Civil War at this point. Says move, you stand. I'm butchering everything, but that is always chill. And then when Cap grabs Mjolnir in Endgame is just like, the theater shrieked, and I was bawling, and my wife was watching me and my best friend hold our hands, go, "What is happening?" And she was just pointing and laughing at us. It's just, Chris Evans is so just epic and perfect as Steve Rogers. I'm trying to think of good comic book moments. I know that there's ones I like, but all right now is ones I hate. They've been coming a lot online. In the Ultimate Universe, at some point, Ultimate Cap points to the A and says, "This A doesn't stand for France," because somebody tells him to give up. And man, you do not understand the character of Captain America at all. This is why we have John Walker as the U.S. agent. This is why we have Nuke. All the other versions of super soldiers throughout the comics are to show warped versions of Captain America, and so to do that in the Ultimate Universe bummed me out a lot.
That's a great take. Looking at it that way, I think really puts a fine point on where they have gone with Cap, and over decades. Right, you have these swings, not just recently, but swings of Cap ridiculousness over the years, depending on sort of cultural resonance at the time. It's pretty easy to make Cap laughable or hateable.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard with a character that potentially can just be a jingoistic character.
Right, exactly. He just like, that's I used to teach high school, and the kids, I'm pretty open about what I'm into. It's hard not to be, nerd is written all over me. And they're like, "Oh, who's your favorite superhero?" And I said Captain America, and this was an arts school, and so they were like, "All right, fascist," and I was like, "No, it's because he represents what America thinks it should be and could be, but never actually is, and he's disillusioned with it." And the comic writers that get that, I love Ed Brubaker's run from the mid 2000s. I think captures it perfectly.
That's awesome. All right. Well, we are here in this minute, and we're kicking off as these trucks, trucks stolen from the Swiss at the fondue party.
Swiss Park and Rec, yeah.
Yes, as they are backing up to the loading dock. And Pete, we get to see your favorite mouth again.
We do. The trucks balletically back into the loading docks, and we have this reveal. But what's interesting about this is, well, so the guy, he's walking up my favorite mouth, MFM. and he he pulls back the canvas, and we have the toy shield.
Yes.
Reveal.
Right.
Toy shield. And the toy shield in this frame does not appear dented to me. Does it appear dented to you?
No, it looks flat.
He then smashes the guy. Guy falls 9 feet back into the thing. And then Cap jumps out. And the first thing we see when Cap hits the ground, there's a big dent on the shield.
Right.
Nice attention to detail. And I mean, I don't see teeth embedded in it,
It
but
needed to be an imprint. Like it should have been a cartoon, like imprint of a face.
So I'm very excited about that sequence.
There's something so charming about how long we're only talking about a minute, and I'd say a full 7 seconds of that minute is just Cap sort of shaking the shield, holding it as the camera frames in of what the Hydra goon is saying. It lasts so long, and I find it quite charming because it's like, this isn't cool or smooth at all. Like,
it has time to cut back and forth between them like twice.
Reaction shots. What? It's very funny. Well, this whole moment, I guess I have a question because it was such a perfectly choreographed moment with the trucks. We could set it to the Blue Danube, like in 2001, as these three trucks, they all turn to the right, and now we back. And it's like they're all lining up so perfectly, and it's like, but then we come to the actual Hydra soldiers who are actually here to unload, and there is no choreography, and they all so conveniently disappear, just so we have the only one soldier here who is going to get hit. And I think it's kind of funny that like no one else is here on the loading docks paying attention to the trucks.
Here's what I think happened is the reason they all turn and run to the far left truck is they stole these trucks from the Swiss. The one Cap jumped in, had just two guys in it, literally no equipment or anything else. The other one maybe had some stuff. The far left, full of Swiss Miss chocolate. And so all the Hydra goons are just like, yes, it's been so cold. And they're just running to get their little chocolate drinks.
No, it's a fondue pot. They're cheese fondue down there.
Fondue pot. I'm sorry.
It's all fondue. Look, when Cap hits the ground and runs out, the loading dock is actually loaded with guys, just no soldiers, right? Like they're all the workers. But okay, so we talked about, I think Andy mentioned earlier in the week that we just recently talked about Back to the Future Part 2. And the curse of Back to the Future Part 2 is that there is no such thing as peripheral vision in that movie. Uh-huh. Like they get away with so much that's happened right in frame. I refuse to believe that Biff can't see the stuff that's going on around him in that car. Like, the whole movie's like that. This sequence is just like that to me. Cap jumps out. Nobody notices rogue guy with Cap shield running around. And then we get this nice wide shot. There are soldiers right there. Like, right there as Cap is running toward the tank. So they're walking the other way. But I have to imagine there are more soldiers. Every single cut is like... At 24, there's Cap walking toward camera and a soldier right behind him who cannot see him because of the ridiculous face mask that they all have to wear.
They have no peripheral vision here.
They have no
Their goggles are so big.
This is Joe Johnson answering the Back to the Future Part 2 problem, which is just giving them all masks.
I never turn my head when I'm walking anywhere in public just in case old me from the future happens to be in the corner. I don't want to ruin that timeline. He must have his own mission, so I'm always dead-eyed straight ahead.
Yeah, I saw what happened to the Jennifers when they ran into each other.
Exactly. I don't want
not going to be me.
Well, that is my problem with this sequence is that it's a little bit easy. It's just a little bit easy for him. He doesn't have to sneak that much.
It's foggy, Pete.
It's so
foggy.
foggy.
30. Look at second 30. This frame, he's running across an open tarmac, parking lot of tanks and stuff, and there are guys everywhere, and they don't see him.
He would be totally fine if he didn't have a shield that stood out like a sore thumb.
Right. And if he wasn't running.
Because it is foggy and it is dark. If he put his goggles over his eyes from far away, he could just walk smoothly and they'd be like, okay, there's another guy. I don't recognize that mouth, but it's kind of far away.
Exactly. That's what it is. That's exactly what it is.
They didn't have mouth ID.
And this is again the evolution of Captain America we've been talking about all week. And he gets the stealth suit and he knows how to sneak in Winter Soldier. Here, his secret plan is to jump from a tank to a roof and be just a lit silhouette running across the longest roof he could find before he breaks in.
Now, I that is a fair point, sir. I give you that. But I do have to say, again, a performative point. Chris Evans jumping up on this tank and climbing up onto that roof makes that look easy. And I don't know that I could do what he did just running up that tank. And I know that sounds like I really out of shape. And I agree. I am really out of shape.
Well, it starts with that first. It's only like an 8-inch up, right? But it is.
Yeah.
I watched it over and over again and be like, is he on wires that they cut? It feels so fluid.
It's so fluid.
And I think that they do that throughout all the Cap stuff. That like he is, if Hydra's 10% better, he is 25% better than the normal human. So everything is just a little easier, a little more fluid, and it's these little details really sell that.
But see, I think it really is. It's Chris Evans is 25% better than I am. Like, not Captain America. Chris Evans is better than me, is what I'm saying.
Pete, I like you, but yes, he is.
But yes, Chris Evans is better than me.
Do you two think that this is really Chris Evans, though? This is the thing, like, that we get in, like, a James Bond movie. Well, I should say, this is the thing we get in, like, a Roger Moore era James Bond movie, where we see a close-up of Roger Moore, and then we cut to a really wide shot as James Bond and someone who looks maybe like Roger Moore runs across and does something amazing. It is dark, it is foggy, and we're on a wider shot of somebody running across the parking area here, running up the tank and hopping onto the roof. I wonder if this is actually not Chris Evans, but his stunt double.
Even if he didn't look no hands leap up that tank, I don't think it'd be Chris Evans, because in real life, it is dark, it is foggy, and your star is going to just jog across a dirt field where potholes and things. No, I think it's a stunt actor that whole time for sure.
I need to believe it's Chris Evans, but even if it's not, the actor portraying Chris Evans doing this run is also 25% better than me.
Yes.
I want to say, like, I had for a hot second, I have it frozen at second 34, and you can very clearly see that's Chris Evans' face, and I wanted to say, but you guys, it's Chris Evans' face, not realizing until a hot second later that this is a movie that really cut its teeth on replacing faces.
Yes.
So
Chris Evans is actually most of the Hydra faces as well.
Right. It's actually Chris Evans' mouth the entire time.
That's why you recognize that mouth.
I do wonder, but I do love the way that he does get up there so quickly. And again, as he does, just to point out again, we have the Hydra Uber tank off on the left, and from what I can tell, there are two guards like just sitting at the top of it, just kind of looking around, and here he is like running across the roof, literally like right in front of them in their tank.
Well, I think it's a commentary on the arrogance when you're so much stronger than your enemies. You're gonna stop worrying about anybody. And that's what this is. This is the arrogance of war and the amount of money we put into the American military system.
That is a lot of commentary for this movie.
Did you want to drop a mic right now?
Yeah, I'm going to unscrew it from its holder.
It'll say, we'll wait.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah.
The commentary on Captain America, the First Avenger, presented by Michael Gravagno.
Yeah.
I'm on a movie podcast normally, yo.
No, but I think I do think that there's an interesting perspective there for sure about the military and their views. So I want to go back. I want to backtrack a minute back to the shield, because I feel like there's another superpower that Steve has that we have not yet addressed. Steve swings at the Hydra soldier when he's out of the truck, or when he's in the truck and the Hydra soldier is peeking in. And again, if we haven't said, this is the same Hydra soldier who was with the prisoners below. So this is the guy who knocks Dum Dum's hat off. That Pete is in love with his mouth. When we see Steve swing that shield and hit him in the face, we can very briefly, for like a frame, see the back of the shield, and Steve's arm is not in the straps on it. It looks like he's holding it just by the right strap as he smacks this guy in the face. A moment later, Steve hops out. The shield is now completely strapped onto his arm, onto his left arm, and he runs off the loading dock and hops off. And as soon as we cut, the shield is now on his back. And I think that there is a shield superpower that we don't yet know, or we haven't explored enough with Captain America and his ability to maneuver this shield in ways that is, in fact, superhuman. Thoughts?
I think that's the secret to why it moves magically and like breaks physics, is because what Steve doesn't know is right next to him when he got the Vita rays and the serum, the shield was, all shields were getting the Vita rays and serums. And so they're neurally linked, and he's controlling it with his mind without even realizing it.
I like that better than mine. Mine was just magnets. But hear me out. That because later we see Steve with the other shield, right? In other movies, right? And he can just like put it on his back and it just sticks, right? Like magnets. I think what we have not yet really called out is that, in fact, Steve himself is magnetic. All shields will stick to him if in proximity, and so they didn't have to do any upgrades to the shield at all or his suit because Steve did it.
He just does it to his back. That's why he always has the exact amount of change in coins, because it just sticks to his body.
It's just hell getting it into the slot.
Yeah, come on, rough letting go, right?
Shaking his hand vigorously.
So,
okay, magnetic. Could he be magnetic?
I think you are right. In all seriousness, that is a continuity thing that feels like that it would be awkward to show Steve like harnessing the thing on his back.
Oh yeah, like a little kid trying to adjust their backpack. That'd be hilarious. He's like,
It is such a funny little thing, and it's one of those things. It's continuity error, but at the same time, it's like who knows how long he's kind of running around here. I mean, they do this thing. We get that fantastic tilt up to this building. This is really where we get to see this Hydra compound that we have here. The building, as Steve's running across the roof, it's very much a movie trope. We're going to see him running toward it, and we're going to tilt up to show you the scope of it, and it's immense. And then we cut, and he's inside. Like that's a very typical trope that movies have. You don't have to actually see how he gets in. We're just going to show you the building, and next thing we see, he's in there. It's fine. It works. But it does speak to kind of the scope of Hydra and the immensity of what they're doing and everything. And so I don't know. I think it ends up playing okay. It's not like, it's not like we're watching him go from A to B to C so specifically. Like I actually feel like weirdly in Thor, when we were talking about him running around the shield complex out in the middle of the desert, before he gets into the hamster tunnels, as he's going around the complex, you actually get a good sense of, if you're watching it minute by minute, you can really trace like the path that Thor takes through that whole thing. And it makes sense. Here it's foggy. We don't really get a setup of the location. And so it's like, it's okay that I don't fully understand exactly where they parked and how he got to where he is. It ends up just playing like, we might be missing some things, but it works okay.
Yeah, we don't need to see every step he takes. Just like wandering around hallways, going in wrong rooms. No, that's the mop room. Oh, sorry, that's the bathroom. Should have knocked.
Well, this is the thing about all of these movies that like there are things that take me out of the movie and that feels like it's breaking continuity. But deep down, I don't want to think about the magic of the shield. I just want it to always work. Mm-hmm. That's when I'm okay letting that break a little bit because it's cool.
Well, and the magic of getting around a place. Like, none of that really matters as long as the film... I mean, this is going back to the Bullet car chase. It's like, it doesn't really matter that the layout of the streets of San Francisco don't make sense in context of the car chase, because it's a car chase. And if we're the audience and we're really paying attention to the movie, then we're not going to be noticing all these things. And this is that curse of the movie by minute format, when we're really looking at all these details as we start pinpointing all this stuff. But in reality, if Joe Johnston's doing his job, we don't notice any of this.
Yeah, I don't know if any director has thought about what if people watch this movie 1 minute at a time and talk about it for 45 minutes. And that's their failing, honestly.
That's
I don't know. We keep sending links to them.
Dear Joe. Well, all right. We talked about kind of sneaking around and everything. We haven't mentioned that in the scope of Hydra vehicles, we do pass some Hydra mini tanks. Those are the smaller tanks. I say smaller. They're the normal size tanks.
Yeah.
We actually run past.
But still, isn't it such a great tease that we pass the mini tanks? He climbs up on a mini tank, and then on the other side is the mega tank, and it's it's just such a fantastic way that is revealed and yet not yet revealed. Like, we still haven't seen the whole thing, and I love it. I love the treatment of the tank.
I wish there was a scene between Schmidt and Zola talking about, like, well, we need. Because Zola's like, well, one kind of tank. Do you really need? And Schmidt seems the guy's like, no. First, we go in with the first wave of tanks, and they are very small. And people are like, that doesn't seem that scary. And then we go in with medium tanks. They're like, oh, okay, maybe we're in trouble. And then we send in the mega tanks. And Zola's just like, Okay, dude, I guess you're making fine.
But if we are to break down the door, the tank must have a giant metal fist upon it. So the fist will break down the mighty fist of Hydra.
Johann Schmidt is just a 7-year-old playing with his toys, and he wants Zola to make them real.
We compared him to, I don't know if you've seen Muppets Most Wanted, but Kermit's, what is Kermit's twin name in that?
The evil Kermit.
The evil Kermit, his name is Constantine. And so we've compared him to Constantine because he has that song in there where he's singing to Ricky Gervais, I'm number one, you're number two. We're criminals at large, but I'm at larger than you. and so much of Schmidt feels like that is his mentality, right?
Yes.
First we use the little tanks, and then we use the big tank.
They're 60% bigger.
60%.
As specified.
I want to hear a scene. I want a scene where he's yelling at Zola, though, for only doing a 55% bigger.
Yes.
Where's the 60?
It's all about the percentage.
Thought I wouldn't check the math.
That's one thing that we don't get enough of. They bring up the math in this film, and we don't get enough of it.
It's that German precision that they're so famous for.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure.
Right. Steve makes it into the building somehow. He ends up in the factory compound, and he knocks on the door. The old knock on the door trick to get someone to open it up. And he does, and the trooper opens the door, and he slams the trooper's head in the door and then punches him. And, it works. It works for Steve, and if it works once, why not keep doing it? So...
Now, as we've been talking, I have had both of these minutes up side by side, and as you know, I'm a student. I'm a student of mouths.
I was going to ask,
and I'll tell you guys, if this isn't the same guy as in the cage and on the dock, then this is a family of triplets, because this mouth has an uncanny resemblance to the other mouths, mouth and chin, and the little wrinkles around the nose, very pointed nose, distinctive nose, strong mouth.
Rodent-like, rodential.
Right.
Nobody's arguing that the prison mouth is the same as the loading dock mouth. But this mouth, to me, in the factory, I think this looks like Brandon Routh from the mouth. And I don't think the other guy looks like it.
This is not Brandon Routh mouth.
This guy's giving me Ralph mouth.
This is not Ralph mouth.
I think what we're learning about you, Pete, is that you have mouth blindness. I think
the worst kind of blindness.
I think this is a real thing.
That is not true. I'm a student. I'm a student of mouths.
He got his doctorate in mouths.
I'm a mouthophiliac.
You might be a student of mouths, but you're a beginner at it. I think you've just started your classes and you have a long way to go.
Kindergartners are still students.
All That's I'm true. Going to do. Kindergartners are still students. The gauntlet has been dropped right here. Let me just tell you, that's all I'm going to talk about for the rest of our run is mouth.
Oh, man. Mm-hmm. This is going to be a long rest of the movie.
Wait till I get to the Avengers, Andy.
So many mouths in that movie.
I could do mouth all day.
Gross. What I love, so the one, I think it's rude to door slam punch. You probably just need door slam because the guy's already getting knocked out. Yeah. But behind him, behind the punch, there's just two other Hydra guys slowly walking. And I think it's probably pretty loud to crunch somebody's head in a door and then punch them in the jaw. And they just, nope. Because they're so muffled by this headgear.
They're so muffled about the head.
Yeah. That's that's what Schmidt might not realize. Like, he likes how cool everyone looks, but he doesn't realize how no one can actually see anything. There's no peripheral vision, and you can't hear a damn thing when you're wearing these things.
Well, he's all about aesthetics.
But everyone's too afraid. Yep, everyone's too afraid to tell him.
Because he'll show him his gross face.
There might be a reason, yeah.
Hey, guys, I just realized it does not take long to make this minute an episode of Scooby-Doo, because they actually do. I've never, as many times as I've seen this movie, I've never noticed that he slams, punches, and then we cut to that wide shot where the feet are sticking out of the door and he pulls the body in.
Yoink.
The only thing that may improve this minute is if Steve comes out of the door wearing the Hydra
Yes.
uniform.
Doing the shifting, like getting comfortable in it. That would have been awesome.
Yes. And then
Speaking
he's suddenly
of Raiders
Indy
of
on
the
the
Lost
Nazi
Ark,
submarine. Yep.
That's right. And how perfect would it have been if it was a little too small.
Yep.
Oh, man.
But he'd never let go of the shield, the toy shield.
No,
So
he's gotta keep
what are you
that.
going to do?
It's a prop shield. It's not a toy.
It's still magnetized to his back. He can't get it off.
Can't reach behind easily.
He's wearing the Hydra leathers over it. So he's just like shield shaped.
Shield shaped. That's perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, last thing that I have is as we're inside here, we do have a crate, and it does say Hydra Abteilung. It's a bunch of German on it, and it actually says Hydra. It's the Hydra department again. We've talked about the Hydra department. I like how it is a department here with the Nazis. Hydra department, caution, explosives, fragile. So, so they're just casually storing boxes of explosives, here and there in whatever corners they can squeeze these things.
I think you don't want your explosives to be fragile. I think you want them to be pretty sturdy. You don't want like clay bottles holding your explosives.
That does seem like a bad idea.
These are these are traditional explosives because there's no lens flare.
There's no
they
blue
would
goo.
be leaking lens flare from holes in the boxes if they were.
That's why they're here. They're
Blue
like,
goo.
we don't need these things anymore. Shove them in a corner because we're only using the new now.
The new blue goo.
Did you happen to get the sign that's to the left of the door? Eine Ehre für Wörterbland und für Interwicklung.
Gorgeous accent.
Well, now that you're bringing it up, I gotta.
Yeah, I'm sorry
try
I
to-
did that to you.
No, I just.
Und eine Ehre für Vaterland und für... It's the Interentwicklung
Or something. Is it
Menschheit
Vaterland?
zu arbeiten.
Is it Vaterland?
Is it German for
Vaterland?
Waterland? Maybe it's just an ad for a water park nearby.
This is definitely a reclaimed facility. It was originally a water park.
Well, it's Fatherland. Und für. Spell that word for me so I can type it well, because I can't.
What I've got is INTERENTWICKLUNG.
Interdevelopment.
Oh, Fatherland, and for interdevelopment, how about Menschheit? This is a strange word. MENSCHHEIT?
Mankind.
Oh. Zu arbeiten. ARBEITEN.
Well, from what we can tell, it says an honor and Fatherland to work interdevelopment humanity. I think that we're missing a few words on the.
It's like a HR poster. Just like, work together, guys. It's an honor to work with all of you.
No
Yeah,
accidents in days.
To work as all of the teams should be working together to support our fatherland. Is
Yes.
something. Our German is terrible, but that's essentially
Awesome.
kind of what
That's
it
what
is.
you meant.
Awesome,
Yeah.
or awesomely terrible. That's what I meant. Yeah. Woo! Lots of stuff this minute. Lots of stuff this week. Any last thoughts about anything going on with Steve creeping around the Hydra base in today's minute? Or anything this week, really.
An alternate thought I had of him, it reminded me, I don't know if you guys ever played the Metal Gear Solid games, but when Solid Snake can turn invisible, that is Steve getting through this whole compound. He puts on that Solid Snake invisibility stuff, and there's nobody can see him until he wants him to.
Yeah. How about
Pretty
that?
much. That's pretty true. Pretty true. And maybe that's what the shield on the back does. It's like it's so visible that it actually becomes invisible.
Yeah, they see it, they're like, there's no way in hell a guy is sneaking in here wearing that super bright, stupid shield, right?
Right. It's just
No way that would be possible. Let's keep walking.
that's right. Yeah, I love that about it. That's again, shield superpowers. All things that happened when the shield was too close to the Vita rays. All right. Mike, tell everybody about your podcast and where they can tune in.
You can, if you liked this, there's a whole lot more of it over at the Superhero Show where me and my compatriots watch every single live action TV show based on comic books. I blanked out in the middle of it. I said, did I say live action? Based on comic books, some cartoons, some movies, whenever we feel like it. There's also movie of the year. Every season we pick a year. We build a giant bracket and then make them fight to determine what is the greatest movie of that year. All of it lives at popfilter.co, and you can find us at Twitter and Instagram at yourpopfilter.
All of that will be in the show notes. Check it out, everybody. Tune into those shows. Mike, thank you so much for joining us all week. It has been a true pleasure and a lot of fun.
Thank you both. Yeah, this was awesome. I've recently watched First Avenger like in January, and I forgot how great it was. And this was so cool sitting here and talking to it. And your show is great, and I'm a fan. Thank you.
Oh, we appreciate it.
Thank you.
It is very fun, and we've got a long road ahead of us. But how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time, and that's what we're here to do.
Keep making more of them, not knowing what it does to you people.
Right, exactly. What are they doing? They don't know what they have done. All right, everybody. Well, thank you all. Remember, you can learn more about the show, join our Discord community, become a member, all that good stuff. Go to marvelmovieminute.com. And that's it for this week. Pete, thank you as always.
But next week, will we get lens flare in a mouth?
Until next time, true believers.
Marvel Movie Minute is a production of True Story FM. Engineering by Andy Nelson. This season's music is Spread the News by Anthony Vega, and this season's show art is by Winston Yabo. Find the show at truestory.fm, and if your podcast app allows ratings and reviews, consider doing that for this show.